Good morning. Now, first news is about this Maruti Suzuki car is electric vehicle or normal vehicle? Yeah, ade normal kada. Now, if government wants to increase the sale of electric vehicle, what it can do? See, think from an economist point of view. Since yesterday's night until next 1 week, you will be hearing everything about Manmohan Singh. Think from economical perspective. There are cars. You want to increase sale of one specific car or else any electric vehicle. What you can do from governance perspective or else from economic perspective? What you can do? Okay. Subsidies in the form of okay, tax subsidies means the amount you will be paying on road for specific for tax, government can reduce it. Okay, further any more? Increasing tax on? Okay, that is good. If government wants to promote EV car, if it is increasing tax on normal cars other than EV cars, fossil fuel based cars, then obviously their sale will be reduced. That is also a good thing. Next, now one major thing is that why this consumerist culture of ACs or refrigerators, washing machines all had increased in the country. Even if people cannot have EMIs means equated monthly installment, or you can say as easy monthly installment, which is making the process easy. Every month installment, generally it is equated monthly installment. Now the thing is that down payment for a car can be reduced. Now because of this also sales will be increased. Next, decreasing. Okay. Now one more thing is that, have you heard about the word depreciation? I want you to learn about the topic called depreciation. Have you heard this? Is there any relation with this depreciation and rise of sales of any specific cars or any product? See, here I had taken a prototype of car. This is applicable to anything, any product. Now, if we are increasing depreciation of a specific product, say, if we are increasing the depreciation of a specific product, what it will happen? Depreciation ki prices ki sambandham enti? First of all, tell me what is depreciation? Depreciation, foreseen obsolescence, or else how much wear and tear an item is being going on in a specific year. For example, say cars cost is 10 lakhs, its lifetime is 10 years. In 1 year it will be depreciated by 1 lakh basically. So after 1 year its cost will be reduced to 9 lakhs because there will be 1 lakh of wear and tear. After 2 years it will become 8 lakhs. After 3 years it will become 7 lakhs. Okay. Now consider the scenario. I told about an example of car. Now leave about car. Take an industrial perspective or overall economy. When there will be high amount of depreciation, ikkada em jarugutadi? This cost will be reduced to 8 lakhs anukondi. Since depreciation is more, we can reduce our life period. Right. Now next year the net investment emavutadi? We will be paying our tax on net investment kada. We will be paying our taxes on net investment. Say the next year you had invested gross investment of some 10 lakhs. Your depreciation is around 2 lakhs. You need to pay tax for only 8 lakhs, isn't it? Since if you increase depreciation of an electrical vehicle or any product which government wants to increase, people will be interested. Why? Because they can reduce their taxation income. Taxable income can be reduced. Now say next year your gross investment or else your gross income is some 50 lakhs. మీ ఆలోచనలు రిచ్లో ఉన్నాయి, తక్కువలో చెప్తుంటే మీకు అర్థం కావట్లే. 50 lakhs. Now we will be taxed based on our net income. Okay. Now depreciation overall is around 5 lakhs, you will be taxed based on this 45 lakhs or 50 lakhs? 45 lakhs. Okay. This will be our net income kada. This will be our net income. We will be taxed on this. We will be taxed on this. Now take a case. If this value of depreciation becomes 10 lakhs, we need to pay tax for only 40 lakhs. Now, how this depreciation value will be increased? Ministry of Commerce will be announcing the depreciation costs of different products in the country. Ministry of Commerce and Industry will be giving the depreciation costs. Now, based on that, say for example, for normal car depreciation cost is 10%. For electric vehicle depreciation cost is 30%. They can, same case, if the cost of car is 10 lakhs, here they can reduce depreciation of only 1 lakh. Here they can reduce depreciation of 3 lakhs. So net they can pay very less. That's why depreciation can also lead to rise in the this sales. It is highly technical thing. You might have understood now. Depreciation is decided by Ministry of Commerce. Basically, depreciation means this cost of a product is getting reduced because of wear and tear or utility of that product. We also call it as foreseen obsolescence. Means we are predicting the future. Based on its lifetime, we are predicting the future. Okay. Now, if depreciation values will be increased, it will lead to increase in the sales. Because they need to pay the net taxes very less. Okay. This will be in your second chapter of NCERT. In 11th class and 12th macroeconomics NCERT, this concept will be there in your second chapter. Okay. Nation mourns former PM Manmohan Singh, the economist-ruler credited with liberalisation. Now, Manmohan Singh. Your opinion about Manmohan Singh? See, obviously since he died now, even the right-wing handles of the country are praising him a lot. Earlier, which used to say him as a silent prime minister or accidental prime minister, even they are praising a lot. It is individual's opinion whether to give him credit or not, but obviously he had worked a lot for the country, being as a bureaucrat or as an economist or as a finance minister or as a prime minister. Okay. Now, for us, for UPSC, we need to learn some lessons from him. Directly for exam, manak growth ko saying for exam, and I am not a philosopher to say any philosophies from him. Now, Manmohan Singh can be credited with major things like LPG reforms. During his budget speech, he first time announced the formation of SEBI in the country. He is the person, during his tenure, RTA Act came in the country. During his tenure, right to work came in the country. MG Narega. And more than all these things, first time India is able to sign a nuclear agreement with a country, civil nuclear agreement with USA. This is even more important than the above mentioned things. When India wants to achieve the energy security, and even when India is not a member of NSG, due to the proud negotiations of our foreign diplomats, India is successful in signing civil nuclear agreement with the USA. What is this civil nuclear agreement or 123 agreement? What is this civil nuclear agreement? Have you heard this? See, since we are not part of NPT, NPT means Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. We are not part of NSG, Nuclear Suppliers Group. Now, if a country, foreign country, must trade with India with respect to any sort of nuclear atomic raw materials like uranium or any dual use metals, for sure a country must be member of this NSG. India is not a member of NSG. Due to China's obstruction, we are not a member of NSG, and now even we are not even planning to join it also. Okay. And we are also not a member of NPT. There is a thing in NSG that we have to become a member of NPT, then only we can become a member of NSG. Since we are not ready to sign NPT, we are not a member of NSG. That is Nuclear Suppliers Group. Nuclear Suppliers Group. Now, if we are member of that nuclear suppliers group, countries will be allowing us to supply us nuclear raw materials, which will help us in achieving our nuclear policy, in achieving this nuclear fission capacities, nuclear power plants and all. Now, no country is ready at the time, because any country which will be going against the world rules might face sanctions. Now, the superpower at the time, USA, itself signed an agreement with us. Because of that, many countries came forward to sign with India. We had civil nuclear agreements with more than 8 countries now, right? So, we are getting civil nuclear supplies from Russia, next say this UK, France, okay. Now, all this happened because this agreement has been signed, and no one expected at the time, because even after in 1971, generally we are a non-aligned country. In 1971, because of this India-Pakistan crisis and all, we tilted more towards Russia. In IR classes, you will be knowing it better. We tilted more towards Russia. After that also, our path is more aligned towards Russia and USSR. Now, once 1991 USSR disintegration happened, since there is only a single power in the world, it is obligation on India to make roads into the friendship of USA. But we avoided USA since many years. But USA became ready to make friendship with India, and in fact now we are even more closer to USA compared to Russia. Right? Of course, I cannot make it as a generalization, but if you know about the internal nuances, you can understand that we are having more number of agreements with USA. Now, all this started with this civil nuclear arrangement only. Okay, that's why this is and this also added stature to India. Why? Because only we are the country who got this exception, right? With our diplomacy and with our capabilities, we made USA sign this agreement. Okay, and further there are many other things also. We gave education a right. Of course, we can't completely credit this to UPA tenure, because 86th amendment already happened in 2002. So, it is also a venture of NDA government. So, these are some major things which have been implemented under the leadership of Honorable former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Now, majorly he will be credited for LPG reforms. What are these LPG reforms? Why we have to start this LPG reforms in the country? India in 1991 faced a greater crisis called balance of payment crisis. Why we got this crisis? Major thing is that if our balance of payments will be getting reduced, we will be facing the crisis. When we will call we are having balance of payment crisis? If our current account plus capital account combinedly is in deficit, one might be positive, but combinedly both of them together are in deficit, plus we are having forex reserves. Generally what happens is that even if we are having this deficit, our forex reserves will be supplementing them. Our forex reserves, for example, currently we have around $700 billion of forex reserves, including this gold, everything and all. Now, if we are having any deficit, we will be taking money from this forex reserves and filling it. Okay. Now, the scenario in 1991 is that this is in deficit and our forex reserves also reduced a lot. They reduced to such a scenario that we have reserves only for 14 days. This is called as, have you heard about import cover? Import cover. The quantum of our imports, or how many days we can import the requirements of India using our forex reserves, we call it as import cover. And see, for example, we have to make imports. How we will be using which currency we will be making our imports? Foreign currencies. Where we will be having our foreign currencies? In our forex reserves. Now, we will be utilizing our forex reserves to buy imports. Now, how many months we can buy our imports using our forex reserves is called as import cover. If import cover is very high, we are in relatively a stable position. If import cover is less, we are in a bad position. Now at the time import cover is around for only 14 days. What is import cover now? Around 10 months. Import cover for India is around 10 months. We became that much stable, right? Because post 1991 we never faced balance of payment crisis in the country. Why? Because our forex reserves are relatively stable. We had taken many number of measures to solve this BOP crisis in the form of LPG reforms, which made India avert any sort of crisis in the future. And now we are helping other countries who are in balance of payment crisis. We had helped this Sri Lanka. We had, have you heard this CRA, contingency reserve arrangement? Contingency reserve arrangement. It is related to which organization? IMF formation is majorly for balance of payment crisis. Now contingency reserve arrangement is a mechanism under BRICS. Contingency reserve arrangement. If any member in this BRICS will be facing balance of payment crisis, this contingency reserve arrangement will be helping them in solving that crisis. అర్థమైందా? బ్రిక్స్ బ్యాంక్ ఇంకో పేరేంటి? న్యూ డెవలప్మెంట్ బ్యాంక్. బ్రిక్స్ బ్యాంక్ ఆర్ న్యూ డెవలప్మెంట్ బ్యాంక్. Contingency reserve arrangement is a mechanism under new development bank. Okay, if any country is facing, say Russia is facing any sort of balance of payment problem, this contingency money will be taken from this contingency reserve arrangement of new development bank and will be given to Russia. Now how money will be coming to this contingency reserve arrangement? Yeah, all the members in the BRICS will be pooling resources for it. Now we are also contributing to that. Okay, now we became that much stable. All hail to Honorable Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao and Honorable Finance Minister at the time Manmohan Singh. Okay, that is the reason, right? We had balance of payment crisis in 1956. After that again we have crisis in 1991. In between this, after that, even after 30 years, around 35 years, we did not face any problem, and in fact we are relatively very much stable, right? Because of the strong LPG reforms in the country. See, now you can get a question in the exam related to, since obviously UPSC doesn't ask about achievements of Manmohan Singh and all, right? So you might get a question in UPSC mains in GS3 regarding the critical analysis of LPG reforms. In critical analysis, you can write that economic growth, our services sector growth increased a lot. We are relatively stable country after that, because even after COVID also, last 3 years we had more than 7% growth rate, which no other country in the world has. We after 1991 reforms, we are benefited with FDI and FPI. Okay, ముందు ఎల్పిజి రిఫార్మ్స్ క్లియర్గా తెలుసా? మీకు ఎల్పిజి రిఫార్మ్స్ క్లియర్గా తెలుసు అనుకొని నేను ఇదంతా చెప్తున్నాను. ఎల్ మీన్స్ liberalization, privatization, globalization. Now globalization means, which we discussed in our society, basically our economy will be integrated to the foreign economy. Means we will be able to sell our goods to foreign countries, foreign goods will be able to sell their goods in our country. Basically our economy, society, polity, everything is getting interrelated, interconnected. Now privatization means there is high-headedness and complete control of government in public sector undertakings in the country in the past up to 1991. Now, and there are many sectors in the country where only government is allowed. Okay, now all of them have been privatized. Privatized in the sense that some PSUs which have been owned by the government of India, have been given to the private sector. For example, we have Hindustan Zinc. It is given to Vedanta. Okay, you know about Vedanta. Similarly, we have modern bread. Even modern bread is a PSU in the past. What is the reason for a government to manufacture breads, to make breads? Right. So this comes from honorable, even our honorable Prime Minister also highly caters to this idea that government has no business to do business. Honorable Prime Minister says like this directly. Government has no business to do business. If they are private players and they are having money, then why should we invest in all these things? Government is there to create welfare. Government is there to create infrastructure. So government must focus on that. Okay. Now, yeah, privatization means government selling their stake sale or else at least to some percent to the private sector. If it is less than 50%, we call it as this minority share. If greater than 51%, it is disinvestment, strategic disinvestment. Why it is strategic disinvestment? Because if a person owns or a company owns greater than 51%, he will be having command in the managerial decisions. So management will also be transferred to the private sector. 100% it is called as privatization. Okay? 100% అయితే అది privatization. 51% కన్నా ఎక్కువ అయితే అది disinvestment. Okay. Now liberalization. So privatization అంటే బేసికల్గా ఏంటి? Are companies, government companies becoming private companies at least to some percentage or else to complete percentage. Now to involve this, to perform this disinvestment, there is a department called DPAM. Okay, DPAM is a department under Ministry of Finance, Department for Public Assets Management. Okay, Department for Public Assets Management, it is under Ministry of Finance. It will be dealing with all the strategic disinvestment things. Further, we have Niti Aayog. This will be identifying the companies which must be done with disinvestment. Okay. Now liberalization. Liberalization means opening of the sectors to the private sector. Opening of different sectors to the private parties. For example, earlier steel is highly regulated. Private companies are not allowed to invest in steel. Privatization ki liberalization ki difference adna. In liberalization, our rules will become free, licensing will become free, regulation will become easier, red tapeism will be reduced. Okay, so basically regulatory cholesterol which is being faced by India since 1947 is being solved. Regulatory cholesterol ఏదైతే ఉండేదో ఆ కొలెస్ట్రాల్ మొత్తాన్ని తగ్గించారు. These words are used by government only, not by me. Okay, regulatory cholesterol has been reduced by 1991 reforms. Okay, now further how government can do all these things? By making the process easier, easy to start a company. Earlier many industries have been not allowed. 18 sectors are completely with the hands of government of India. Now currently there are only 4 sectors with the government of India, and recent times these 4 sectors are nuclear, space, banking and communications. Now government private sector is being allowed in the nuclear. Through this year's budget, government allowed private sector participation in small modular reactors formation. Okay, next this space, government completely allowed space now. 100% FDI in the space sector, 100% FDI in the defense sector. Sorry, this 49% FDI in the defense sector. Okay, so in this manner, liberalization, privatization means the companies which are already established by the government will be transferred to private. Here private sector will be allowed easily in different sectors like steel, aluminium manufacturing, anything. Aviation up to 1999 is completely in the hands of government. Later on it privatized. Now coal got privatized in 2020. Even now Coal India caters to 80% of coal production in the country. In 2020, 100% FDI is allowed and also private sector allowed in the country. Adhaina liberalization ki, privatization ki, globalization ki difference. Now these 3 mooted from the idea of Honorable Finance Minister at the time, Manmohan Singh. Now this LPG reforms, we had to take this decision because of our balance of payment crisis. Another reason for this is that to solve this balance of payment crisis, since we do not have forex reserves, enough reserves, we had to take loan from IMF. This is called as IMF bailout package. Now IMF, if they have to give money, they had kept some conditions on us. Those are called as IMF conditionalities. IMF conditionalities. Use these words in the answer. IMF conditionalities. Now, the points of this IMF conditionalities are implemented in the form of LPG reforms. Okay. Major IMF conditionalities are like deregulation of our exchange rate. Our exchange rate majorly became market exchange rate. Reducing the wasteful expenditure. Opening up the public sector. Basically privatization. Okay. The things, have I told you about Washington Consensus? Yeah. So basically IMF conditionalities are based on this Washington Consensus. All these Washington Consensus, LPG reforms, IMF conditionalities are same. All will be promoting the liberalization in the world. Okay. అర్థమైందా? LPG reforms ఇంపార్టెంట్ అవ్వచ్చు ఇయర్ ఎగ్జామ్కి. ఇంకా చాలా ఉంది. LPG reforms ఒక్కటే చెప్పాలంటే ప్రతి ఇప్పుడు I told very simply, inside liberalization it will be 1 hour class actually. There are many things under this. For example, Navratna, Miniratna categorization, all these will also be coming under this privatization, public sector reforms. Okay. Yesterday we discussed about Belgaum session, 1924 session, only session which Mahatma Gandhi presided. Okay. 100 years of Belgaum session. Know about the resolutions which have been passed in Belgaum session. Okay. Pushed through. Political expediency must not be allowed to drive mega projects. Yesterday we discussed in detail about our Kane Betwa and river interlinkage project. Same as I mentioned here. Basically, the things which I mentioned, this any sort of river interlinkage could not happen if there are political obstacles. The same thing he had mentioned here. Okay. Now, further, tapping into Kazakhstan's rare earths potential. Where is Kazakhstan? Central Asia. Adi cheppedam. Okay. Central Asia. For our convenience, outsider can say it as something around Afghanistan. Meera ala cheppakoodu. Andaru meera asalu cheppakoodu. Now, Kazakhstan is in Central Asia. We have 5 Central Asian republics. Kazakhstan is one among them. Now, Kazakhstan is very much important for our country because Kazakhstan has a lot of rare earth minerals. Rare earths are very much important for the emerging industries like semiconductor sector, electric vehicles, aerospace, defense. All these rare earth metals will be having some properties which are very much important for industrial sector of the future. Okay. Now the problem is that most of the rare earths, more than 70% of the rare earth minerals are available only with China. And China repeatedly trying to create supply chain disruptions. We are more than 80% of our, in fact not 80%, even more than that, we are importing from China only. Now, if China is disrupting this, making our supply chain a problematic thing, obviously we will face problem because those are very much important for our this electric vehicle industry, IoT industry. Very important for artificial intelligence development in the country, biotechnological development, space industry development. Those minerals are very much essential and India is not having them. Means it is having very less and even our production and excavation is also very less among them. So, this article specifically says that we need to venture into an agreement with respect to rare earth minerals with Kazakhstan. And also our relations with Kazakhstan is also relatively good. We have a Connect Central Asia policy with these 5 Central Asian republics. So, government must move this idea. And also, why this is even more essential now, because already major countries like USA, UK already made agreements with Kazakhstan for supply of rare earth metals. So, India should also utilize this. Already we are having some agreements with Latin American countries, China, for the supply of supply chain. So we need to diversify that so that in future any sort of supply chain issues will not happen. Supply chain problem ante, see for example, now whole process of production in the country have become decentralized. From the minor part to larger parts, everything is being distributed, production is being distributed across the world. So for example, take a mobile phone. To manufacture that mobile phone, we need to have inside semiconductors, chips, or else panels and all of them will not be available in the country. We will be taking one from different countries. This is called as supply chain distribution. Now, China is, if we are taking some product from China from many years and China stopped that supply, it will create to supply chain disruption which will hamper our production. Okay, to solve these problems, we have to diversify our buying basket. That's why we have to make agreements with Uzbekistan also. Along with some other countries, India started SCRA, Supply Chain Resilience Initiative also. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow.